President Trump's first address to Congress this week really sets the stage for the legislative year to begin. And to hear the president speak about it, it's going to be super busy. He's got a very, very ambitious program, which he sketched out on Tuesday night. And even though he's at the head of the first all-Republican government in a decade, it's going to be a lot more difficult for him to get these things done than it might first appear. Let's go down the list. Number 1, he's got to fill all the big seats in the government. Yes, it's true that almost all the cabinet confirmations are done, but after that, there are dozens and dozens of sub-cabinet positions at agencies and boards and commissions, and those take time, and he hasn't even begun making nominations for many of them. Number 2, he wants to get Neil Gorsuch confirmed for the Supreme Court to fill Antonin Scalia's seat that's been vacant now for more than a year. Amazingly, at the moment, this looks like it's going to be one of the easiest tasks. The opposition to Gorsuch seems soft. All the Republicans are on his side, of course, and he's got to find maybe 8 Democrats to go with him. That looks doable at the moment. Number 3, he's looking at a $30 billion mid-year spending bill that will probably be the vehicle for his ambition to start construction of what he calls the Great Great Wall along the Mexican border. Some version of this bill is going to have to get passed to take care of emergency needs. Whether it gets slowed down or not by the debate over the wall is what's up in the air. Number 4, it's almost time to start the budget process for the new budget year, which starts in October. The president is already talking about a bold plan to increase defense spending by 10% and to pay for that with offsetting cuts of about $54 billion in domestic programs. To be frank, this looks to be dead on arrival. The defense hawks want even more than that in spending, and Republicans and Democrats think that cuts that deep to environment, education, and other programs is draconian and too much. Now it's time to move on to the really big-ticket items that Trump campaigned on. Number 5, overhauling the tax code for the first time in 30 years. Amazingly, of the really big things that he's asked for, this might be the easiest one. The stars seem to be aligned. House Speaker Paul Ryan has been talking about a tax overhaul for years, since before he became Speaker. Plenty of corporations are really eager for the trade-off of having lower rates, even though it means fewer deductions. There really is nothing absolutely standing in the way of getting this done. Number 6, in the public's eyes, this might be number 1, repeal and replace Obamacare. Republicans have voted several dozen times when President Obama was president to repeal the thing, but they still haven't figured out how to replace it. A plan is emerging in the House, but it's unclear whether it can get through, because even though the Republican leadership is behind it, there are Republican conservatives that only want to repeal it. There are Republican conservatives that want to replace it with something much more modest. There are mainstream Republicans that want to replace it with something somewhat comprehensive. And there are Democrats who, at the moment, seem content to just stand off to the side and watch the Republicans fight amongst themselves. Number 7, Donald Trump may be a Republican, but he's got a really big government idea of spending $1 trillion to improve the nation's infrastructure. Public works, highways, roads, bridges, schools, hospitals, airports. He wants the federal government to invest in all of this with the help of some private investment. This is the kind of big government thing that makes Democrats happy, but doesn't make Republicans very happy. In light of all the other things that are happening this year, this one looks like it's going to have to take a back seat. The big problem for all this spending is how to pay for it. Different people have different ideas. A lot of it has to do with taxes. So if an infrastructure overhaul is going to happen, it will probably get connected to the tax overhaul. Number 8. This is something the president talked about once at the Republican National Convention and didn't seem to mention again until his speech to Congress this week, which is a program of more paid family leave to new parents. This is something that many Republicans have no interest in doing, but is being pushed by Democrats and is being put on the president's agenda by his own daughter, Ivanka. A very tough sell if he wants to pass most laws with a majority of Republican votes. And finally, number 9, and this one was just added this week, sort of. President Trump told the nation's big TV anchors at the White House on Tuesday morning that he's open to an immigration overhaul. In his speech, he didn't talk about it, but yet again, the day after the speech, White House aides were saying that he is, in fact, open to some sort of legislation, some big deal with the Democrats that would provide a path to legalization, if not quite citizenship, for millions of the undocumented people already in the country. That would be another huge addition to the 2017 agenda, which is already packed, It's already March. Congress is in for 5 weeks now, then they take a 2-week spring break, then they're back for another month, then they have another break. The year is going to be over before we know it. If the past is any prologue, every new president is going to need to pick and choose and narrow the list of what he really, really wants to get done before too long.